SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic snow on the Rubicon in Toyotas is, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tyler. Joining me in the studio is...
I'm introducing myself now?
Yeah, that's
what the cue is?
That's the cue.
Got it. Okay, pointing at me. Jimmy Jet.
Hey.
I got it. You want to try that again?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And joining me in the studio today is...
Jimmy Jet.
Hey, good job, man.
Thanks.
It's like we've been practicing or something.
Yeah. Thanks.
I must say, your chin is looking very supple today.
Yeah, thank you.
You are very welcome.
Did you rewatch that video or something?
No. Ryan wanted me to say it.
Oh, gotcha.
He's like, can you please just remind Jimmy how supple his chin looks?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't very obvious on that live stream that on Instagram what section of what is cut off.
Yeah.
So there I was sitting and didn't know that half my face wasn't being shown at all to the viewers.
So apparently my video was turned sideways.
Yes.
A lot of the times.
I saw that.
I did on my screen. It showed everything was vertical and upright the whole time. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
First try, you know, it ain't that bad.
Yeah. The team stuff went great though.
They did. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We're at episode, God, what is this? 505?
505.
505. Isn't that a band? 303 is the band. Never mind. It's another prime number band.
Is it?
Yeah.
303? Oh, yeah.
303.
Yeah. When you say 303, I think of that good car cleaning stuff.
Is that 303 or is it 30?
I thought it was
3.
Thought it was 303,
Okay,
like
maybe.
aerospace cleaning solution.
Maybe. What's 505 then? Nothing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably something. We can make it something.
Hey, Google, what is 505? Wonder how many people's phones just went off. So yeah, man, episode 505, Thursday episode for everybody. We did some things. We're going to tell you guys about that later on. We have some housekeeping stuff to get to, as well as we're going to do some reviews. See if we can get caught up on reviews. We'll see if we made it to the, are we at 650 or 700?
We're coming up on 650.
650.
We'll see if we're there.
So yeah, we're going to go through some stuff and it should be fun.
Sounds great.
You ready?
I am ready.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go. What are we doing?
I buckled up.
You buckled? Oh, okay. I thought you were doing that. Yay. Woohoo. So yeah, let's see. We got a giveaway for the month of May, which is almost over.
Yeah.
We're coming down to the end of May. We have an AirHub from MORRFlate. So $250 retail value. Essentially, it's automated inflation and deflation in short terms.
I thought it was Automagic
digital air control.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
Is that trademarked?
Not yet. I don't know if they would let me trademark it, because the stupid thing about trademarks is that it cannot be describing a product or what it does, because that's a marketing term, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm like, that's the whole point of marketing terms, though, is to own the marketing term and have it become your identity.
Sure. That makes sense.
But you're not supposed to be able to trademark that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you can, but you trademark identity.
Word in it.
Yeah, I know, right? So I'm like, I got to figure that out if they'll let me. I got denied on trademarking multi-tire inflation deflation.
Yeah. Bummer.
Which is a bummer, because I'm like, we kind of started that whole thing, and it's totally our identity. It's what we identify as a company. And we got denied on it. So, but what's interesting to me is that Make America Great Again got trademarked, which is a description.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Closed system winching is trademarked by Factor 55, which is a description of the product. So I'm like, how are they getting these things trademarked?
Yeah.
But I can't get multi-tire inflation deflation trademarked.
That's interesting.
So I'm trying to figure out a way to do it.
Spell it funny or something.
I know, right? Yeah. So anyways, that's fun stuff. We have an AirHub for everybody giving away.
Yes, we do.
It's one of the pre-orders. We are I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. We might be able to move up the launch date a month.
What?
Yep.
A month?
A month. So
like June 15th?
June 15 to June 20, I'm thinking.
Wow.
So
are they here now?
No, they're not.
I want one.
They're not here yet. But we are working on getting a part of our production expedited so that we can have units to sell out at PNW Expo.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if we're going to get in units for PNW Expo, I'm going to try and get in enough units to cover all the pre-orders up to that date as well.
Nice. I like it.
So it's going to be close.
Do I need to put my pre-order in then?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's going to be close. I'm not making any promises yet, but it's looking good.
Oh, all right.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
He normally doesn't say stuff like that unless there's a big chance of it being positive.
Yeah, I've learned, if there's anything in business I've learned, it's to under promise and over deliver, right?
Yes.
So make promises way past what you think you can deliver, and then if you deliver ahead of those promises, everybody's happy.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's looking pretty good that we're going to have them for PNW Expo. The only holdup that could happen is if customs, there's a holdup in customs, getting it through customs.
Which,
so
the likelihood of that happening.
It seems to be about 50-50 right now, 50% chance of that happening currently. So anyways, AirHub for the month of May.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. And it's really freaking exciting for me to see these come out. I've talked about it on the podcast before. And it's just a really, really cool device. We had it out at Expo West last week.
Yes.
And it was a massive hit.
Sweet.
Apparently word got out that AirHub was there for people to check out. And people were coming from around the grounds just saying, hey, I heard AirHub is here and I've been looking around for it. And they found it eventually. So
sweet. Where was it?
At the Summit 4x4 shop booth.
Okay.
So it's a local build company, kind of like Stellar Built. Near Flagstaff, Arizona.
Sure.
And so they have a retail part of their business as well. So they had a big booth showing off a bunch of stuff that they carry, a bunch of the fabrication that they do. And so we teamed up with them and had MORRFlate stuff on display there. And it was a big hit. A lot of people came by just to check out AirHub. So
nice. Good. That's good to hear for both sides of that coin.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool device. I have gotten to use it up on the Rubicon now. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
We've done a bunch of testing with it, and it's all working absolutely beautifully.
Sweet.
So
I can't wait to try it out myself.
Yeah. Anyways, we have one of those giving away. In order to get in for that giveaway, you got to go to irate4x4.com. Go to the SnailTrail4x4 forum there, and all your sign-up options are there under the SnailTrail4x4 forum. So you guys should know how to do that by now. If not, shoot us a DM and we can help walk you through it.
Absolutely.
Let's see. What else do we got going on?
We've got reviews, which we will get to those. But for leaving reviews, you will have a chance to win a swag pack from us, which the next 2 swag packs are going to include an elite membership from Onyx Off-Road.
Yes, sir.
And then so that will be for $650, which I think we're at. So we'll check here in a little bit, and we'll read some reviews here in a little bit. So $650 will receive a swag pack that includes an Onyx Off-Road Elite membership. $700 will be the same, and 750 reviews will include a set of Yokohama tires. So you have a chance to win a set of Yokohama tires. Once we reach 750 reviews, somebody out there will win.
Yeah, that's super cool. So I was just grabbing the 2 Onyx Elite memberships that we have for the giveaways. They're right here. If you're watching the video, you can see them. So we got 2 of those and then a set of Yokohama tires all planned for review giveaways. Cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's super rad of Onyx and Yokohama to step up and do that for the listeners. So
sweet.
Should we read a couple reviews?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Fail on the podcast. Dang.
You owe $5 at the beer jar.
Dang it. Not again.
All righty. Let's see what we got. We got a review here from Canadian Pedro TLC.
Nice. Hey, Pedro.
From Canada. It says informative and relevant. Love this podcast. They have a structure and talk about relevant issues. Nice to have 4x4 podcasters who actually go off-roading. Pedro TLC.
Yeah.
Is that a shot fired to other podcasts out there that don't go off-roading?
Yeah.
I can think of a couple.
Do you know how Canada got their name?
No.
They threw all the consonants in a hat, and then they drew out of the hat, and the first letter was a C. A. N. A. D. A.
Got it.
Canada.
Yay. Oh, Canada. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad we can get more historical accuracy here on the podcast.
I'm glad we go wheeling.
Yes.
I haven't been off-roading since Cruise Moab, but somebody went off-roading this last weekend.
Cruise Moab was about a month and a half away. A month away.
So.
About a month. So you're getting out once a month.
Yeah.
That's good. That's still more than a lot of people. All right. Next one is from Ricky Palo.
Ricky Palo. Thank you.
Fun wheeling podcast. Jimmy and Tyler are entertaining hosts. The podcast covers off-roading trip reports, industry interviews, and campfire style discussions. If you are into wheeling, Toyotas, and hearing about great California's trails and events, this is the podcast for you.
Woo!
That's our new intro. We're going to change the intro now. Just read that every time.
I like it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky.
I wonder if he just, what's it called? Is he content writer? He must be a content writer.
I think he just put that into ChatGPT.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I like it.
ChatGPT, give me a review for the SnailTrail4x4 podcast. Yeah. Next one is from, Rock and Crawl K5.
You know him?
We know that person.
We do?
They message on Instagram all the time.
Oh,
I don't know his name off the top of my head, but
they don't like me.
They don't like you. Nobody likes you, Jimmy.
That's true.
Just kidding. Actually, everybody likes Jimmy a lot more. Especially drinking Jimmy. Drinking Jimmy is a lot of fun, and he catches things on fire, including himself. This one from Rock and Crawl K5 says full size Insta. Rock and Crawl K5 says your fellow full size listener. Love the podcast. Don't ever apologize for the long episodes. It keeps me busy during some of my long drive days. Keep up the long episodes. I wonder if he's a long haul trucker.
Maybe.
Or a short haul trucker. Maybe a trucker in general.
Trucker in general. We seem to have a lot of those.
We do seem to have a lot of those.
But once again, those guys are in the vehicle a lot
Yes.
driving, so it's not a lot of different things they can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see next.
Got another one?
Yeah, let's do another one.
So that's not full size. He says full size Insta.
Your fellow full size listener.
Got it.
Yep. Which is weird because neither of us are full size wheelers. So
no.
Anyways, I have bigger than full size axles.
Yeah. You have a full size and I have a full size.
That is true. We do. So we'll give him that one. Yeah. I'm not going to wheel a 350. Did I tell you about that? Some dude down at KOH took a brand new, like it looked like the exact same thing as my truck. A brand new F350 dually quad cab long bed up Chocolate Thunder.
Really?
Tried to take it up Chocolate. He got through the boulder field and got to where the turn in the corner is.
Yeah.
Just past that turn.
Wow.
And just absolutely buried the truck in the loose sand in there and was throwing sand rooster tails 30 feet in the air.
Jeez.
I was like, what is this guy doing? That's stupid.
Did he have some company logo on the side that he was trying to promote?
Not that I could find. It looked identical to my truck, same color and everything. No brand badging on it anywhere.
Somebody's got money to waste.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what that screamed to me was. Yeah, I got $100,000 I can blow. Anyways, crazy.
Okay, it's got full coverage from the.
It's a rental. Jesus Christ. Oh man. Next one. Oh, freak. GIF Juve.
GIF Juve.
That's
Thanks
what we're going
for writing in.
Great podcast. Looking forward to more episodes.
They're coming.
They are coming out, especially with all the voicemails we have.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. And last one for today is Spark 'em Up.
Spark 'em Up.
Spark 'em Up. Spark 'em Up. Spark 'em Up. It's a bunch of consonants. So that's what I'm going with.
Spark 'em Up. Thanks for writing in.
It says, jokes. Love the podcast and keep up the jokes. Well, maybe not all the jokes. A lot of great information, entertaining stories, well worth listening if you have interest in Toyotas or wheeling in general.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, that's it for reviews. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. We love getting to interact with you guys. That's why we started the Friday episode as well, which is, we alluded to, voicemails. We get to listen to your voicemails as you call in and leave them. And it seems like you guys are calling in faster than we can go through them now, though. So we might need you guys to hold off for a little bit.
Maybe that, or that episode just needs to go from half an hour to an hour.
Oh, geez.
Another hour. I don't want to edit another hour podcast, though.
Yeah, it's a ton of work. So yeah, we'll see. It's a good problem to have. We'll see if we need to solve it or not. So, yeah, that's it for today on reviews. Let's see.
Excellent.
What are we at? I wanted to check
that's
that.
What I was going to ask. What are we at?
What if we can go here? Yep, that's where it was. We have 648.
Isn't that what we had? What were we at last time? 44?
I don't remember. Yeah, I thought we had like 7 left or something. So 43.
43. So we got 5.
Two more spaces until we give away an Onyx Elite membership. And
did you refresh that? Let's try refreshing it. Let's see what it does. It change?
Nope, 648.
Okay.
So, 2 more spots for one of the Onyx Elite memberships and swag.
Nice.
So, get in there over at iTunes, or Apple Podcasts is where you need to leave the review at. Apple Podcasts, and that's it. So, let's see. What else do we got on the docket for today?
That's really about it as far as I know Marlin Crawler Roundup released dates and times for things that were going on for the Marlin Celebration of Life.
Ooh, okay.
So I screenshotted that. So Marlin Crawler Celebration of Life is on June 1st down at the Clovis Ranch Fairgrounds, Clovis Valley Fairgrounds.
Clovis Rodeo Fairgrounds. Yeah.
That's what it is. So the start time of that event is at 11 o'clock. That's when the parking lot opens.
Okay.
And then 1 o'clock is opening messages from Michael and Christine.
Yep.
It says Crystal.
Yeah. I wonder if autocorrect fixed to that.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's Christine.
Yeah. Well, it has an L at the end on here.
Yeah.
Uplifting messages from a pastor happen at 1:20, at 1:40. It's open mic if you want to share something. 2:50 is closing, and then at 3 o'clock the truck show starts out in the main parking lot. So if you want to enter your vehicle in the truck show, you need to get there at 11 or just after 11 to enter it, and then the show starts at 3. At 5, the event ends. All vehicles will exit, and then it says at 6, it says get out.
GTFO.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a dry event, so no alcohol.
Okay.
They will have complimentary water. They're not serving food, so it does. If you get there at 11,
so tailgate.
Yeah, so tailgate, hang out until 1 and eat something. They said there's tons of restaurants all around the fairgrounds, so you can choose a restaurant to go and eat at. But it's also outdoors, so and it typically gets in the 90s during that time out there. So bring sun protection, bring a hat, bring things to keep you out of the sun as best as possible. Bring water as well. Yeah. I would say just bring some extra waters, and then hang out and then have some fun.
Cool. I'm taking the 350 and the Lance down. I'm debating. I have to take the trailer as well because my dad ordered a set of 40-inch Yokohamas from Stellar Built. So I need to go pick those up from Stellar Built and bring them to my dad at this event. So I'm taking the trailer with the tires on it. And since I'm taking the trailer, I'm thinking about loading Kermit on the trailer as well. And just bringing Kermit down, throw him over into the truck show, and then go off and hang out and see people.
Cool.
So we might have Kermit down there. And then I'll have the lance down
somewhere.
And I'm thinking about also bringing a couple pop-ups to put out outside the lance just for extra shade.
Yeah.
And then we can have a little hangout spot.
I wonder if we can get a hold of the campground or the fairgrounds and see if we're allowed to camp there.
That would be really nice. I'm guessing not. I'll check with our Ford buddy.
Okay.
That sounds weird to say, but I'll check with our Ford buddy.
I was about to say which one.
Yeah. And he offered to let me stay there overnight.
Okay.
So he might be willing to be like, yeah, here's some more street space for you.
Sure.
To throw the rooftop tent up or something.
Yeah.
But he's like 10 minutes from the fairgrounds.
Oh, cool.
So I'll check in with him. Matt, if you're listening, let me know if I haven't checked in with you yet. So, that event's going on. It should be a really nice event. I need to try and see if I can get an update on the Ormhoff submission. That way if there is any update, we can announce it at the event.
Yeah.
I don't think they pick anything until like August though. So We'll see.
Understood.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So, well, shall we move into what in the butt?
After I'm done choking. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
You okay
I don't know, mentally or physically.
Yes.
Yes. Let's get over to what we've been up to.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
What have you been up to?
Starting with me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I spent a solid day cleaning the shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got everything, you got spaced for Samantha now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Question mark?
Yeah. It's funny how when you go to rearrange a shop or reorganize the shop or clean the shop, you end up moving things multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that's how everybody else does it, you know, but I've would grab some things from in a corner of a shop and move it to another area because I needed to clean that area out so I could start putting stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
But then all I did was move stuff.
Yeah.
So then those things needed to go somewhere. So then I had to figure out where those were going to go. And yeah, so there was a lot of times that I would just move things from point A to point B to point C back to B, you know, and yeah, because the problem is I have no home for a lot of this crap.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find homes. Like, where am I going to store these things? Where should I put this? How do I organize it? How do I rearrange the shop and make room for all this crap that I've accumulated over the last year or so of not doing any YouTube videos?
Have you started making any use of your extra storage room, the extra room in there?
Yeah, I wish.
Sorry, that's a sore topic for him.
There's a room inside the shop that my parents claim as their storage room.
Yeah.
And it's like a quarter of the way full.
Yeah.
It's really sad. But if I was able to get that room, I would move all of Snail Armor in there.
Yeah.
And then I would just have there's a little alcove. And I would move my fluids and stuff back into there and make that just that little sort of alcove room, and then have Snail Armor in the extra room inside there, which would be nice because then I could run a panel and have the blower and the water cooler and the laser running. And I don't know if you would hear it in the background of a video, but there would be a droning noise that people might recognize or might hear. And, you know, I'd want as good as audio as I could get for the video. So if I had it in its own room,
that would fix that.
It would solve that problem.
Yep.
I've thought about buying a little tough shed thing for my parents so that they could just
move all their stuff into it.
Move all their stuff into that tough shed.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, maybe I'll just build myself another spot on my own property to move all the Snail Armor to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is at the moment. Right now it's staying where it's at, and I'm trying to organize the rest of the shop around that.
Yeah.
My old man was like, why don't you just move all this crap out of here and move Snail Armor over here to the big area? And I'm like, because I don't need that much room.
Yeah.
I need more room to shoot YouTube videos. And he's like, but you're not shooting. I'm like, yeah, I know. But
because I don't have room in here right now.
I need to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I spent a good chunk of the day. It cleaned up a lot. I could start for the most part working on Samantha on the vehicle, but I still want to clean off like my metal area and some of the surfaces, the countertops out there, so that I could start organizing, like just having enough room to work on an axle on the shelf, or the counter up there would be nice. And right now it's just covered in like clamps and a vice or two and random levels and everything. My whole metal area is a disaster. So I want to build a welding table. I already have everything for it for what I can believe I think I have. And so then once I make that table, which I really want to try to do later this week, once I make that table, then I like all the clamps and metalworking tools and levels and things are going to go over onto that, and that's going to clear that whole countertop off, and it'll help me organize that corner where all the metal is. So that's sort of my game plan with that. And then once that's all cleaned out, that really opens up a bunch of space, and then there's going to be a lot more room for me to be able to do some of the work and jobs that I need to take care of and do.
Yeah.
That said, it's like if I'm going to be cutting and grinding on an axle, I'll probably take it out front.
Yeah.
And out into the middle of nowhere land and do the work out there instead of making the shop dirty. I'll make outside a little dirty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's sort of do I really absolutely need it right now? No. Would it be nice to have all that stuff done right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't, it's this weird balancing act of what needs to get done.
Have you been watching how Nate is setting up his new shop?
I haven't seen any of it. No.
Oh.
I've seen he did like a walk around on Instagram kind of, and I was like, that's cool. He has a lot more room than I have.
He has like triple the space you have.
Yeah.
It's a massive shop that he's doing.
Absolutely. It's rad, and I'm super happy for the dude. I did send him an email today, actually, so we might get to talk to him again.
Oh, cool.
And maybe I'll bring that up as well.
Yeah.
But I know that he has room for like metal racking on walls and different, gauges or thicknesses at different points. Yep. And and he has like a whole fastener room, and I'm like, geez. So I maybe I should watch one of those videos, and I could probably take one or two things away from that. And
I think he has some really neat organizational ideas that could be adopted to smaller spaces.
Sure.
For sure.
That's sort of what I think could happen for sure. Yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of places in my shop that are completely underutilized. Like I have a whole drawer set that's underneath one of the cabinets by the metalworking area. It's like halfway full. Like, there's like drawers that don't have stuff in it. Yeah. Maybe now that I'm talking about it, like maybe I should make one of those drawers like a clamp drawer. Yeah. And then I don't have to worry about putting it some places. I have a whole plastic pull-out drawer thing that has like sockets that I never use. Yeah. They're like, because since we've been working with Gear Wrench, and Gear Wrench has been a fantastic partner and giving us a lot of tools, that like I've now pulled tools out of that aren't Gear Wrench, and I've set them aside. Yep. And I'm probably going to grab those ones and take them over to my house so that I have some sockets and things out over there. But it's like I just use them as like permanent storage that I don't know if I should be. It's like I should just throw them in a bag and throw them like way up on a shelf at that point. So there's a lot of things that I can redo and clean up and try to make better for, moving forward. But once again, it's another level of time. It's like there's crap in there. I'm going to move on to the next one that doesn't have crap in it yet. Yeah. So there's just a lot to do. Because of me rearranging and organizing the shop, the rock sliders that I got from Bay Area Metal Fab, BAMF, were just sitting on the floor, and I'm like, this is stupid. These need to go on the Tacoma on
Yeah.
Charlotte. Like that, I need to make this happen. So this weekend, I put the sliders on on Charlotte the Tacoma.
Oh, cool. I didn't notice them out there. I didn't look at Charlotte, but yeah.
Well, I'm between other vehicles out there. Then your close knit parking spots here. But yeah, so I threw those on. It went fairly well. I did the passenger side first by myself, and it went totally great. It went super easy. I did mess up on one thing because I put the slider up, and then I realized that at one point you have to slide a brace in that I can't access once the slider was up. So I had to pull the slider back down, which was, I had like 2 bolts in at that point, just kind of temporarily hold it. So then I did that, and then the passenger side one was easy because there's nothing on the frame. It's just more or less an empty frame. Yeah. And then like 80%, maybe even 90% of that frame is C-channel. Okay. It's C-channel.
Yeah, the Tacomas are the 3rd gens.
Yeah, I thought they were boxed in till behind the cab.
Nope.
They're boxed in till about the firewall.
Yep.
And then it's C-channel the rest of the way.
Yep.
I was shocked. I didn't know it was that far back, or that far up for when C-channel started. But the driver's side has like the brake lines running down it. It has a wiring loom on it. It has a bunch of other stuff back there, maybe gas lines too, because the gas tank's on that side. So that one was a little bit more work. And so I had a buddy coming over because we were doing a plant swap. He had some peppers that he had excess peppers, and we had excess basil. And so he's like, I'm gonna give you some peppers, and I was like, you want some basil? And he's like, yeah, I don't have any basil, so I gave him some basil.
Nice.
And while he was here, I was like, can you give me a hand for a moment? And he ended up giving me a hand for like an hour. And it was nice to have another set of hands and another set of eyes to make sure I wasn't hitting anything. Also on my truck, because I did installed the Victory 4x4 gas tank skid plate. It wasn't a perfect match for what the Bay Area Metal Fab BAMF's rock sliders were, so I had to figure that out and rearrange, organize that. And I actually I cut ever so slightly off of the Bay Area Metal Fab's bottom channel thing, so it's not going to even affect anything, so that I could put the bolt up to hold the skid plate for the gas tank.
Gotcha.
And I don't know how Jerry at BAMF has his design to work with his system. So I'm fairly certain to say you don't have to modify his rock sliders to work with his gas tank skid plate. Yeah. But because I'm using 2 different systems, I had to do that. So in his instructions, he said if you have a buddy doing it, helping you out, the whole job would take about 45 minutes. If you're doing it by yourself, it'll be a little over an hour. It took me about 3.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. Like I read his instructions, like, probably about an hour and a half for me to do it. No, it took me almost an hour and a half to do just the passenger side.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm gonna need an extra hand for the other side. But I think, in his mind, he's done so many of them. Yeah. He probably knows every single step of what to do. Yeah. And so, but it worked out well. Like no drilling needed, easy install, lots of hardware. On the driver's side, I ended up putting a lot of bolts in the opposite direction from what he suggested. He suggested, the bolt head would be on the exterior of the frame, the bolt would stick through. But on the driver's side, that points right into the lines. And so I turned the bolts around and stuck the bolts poking out of it, so that the head is the only thing on the inside of the frame. Yep. And then I actually wrapped electrical tape around the lines in that general area. So if there is any rubbing, hopefully it'll rub through the electrical tape before ever having any problems. But nothing's really moving there, right? So it's not going to be a lot of movement, but there's still going to be some vibration. So got the sliders on the Tacoma and did a lot of cleaning up in the shop. And because the sliders on the Tacoma, it really freed up a chunk of space in the shop too. So that was really nice. Now I just need to do a little bit more organizing, figure out if I'm going to build that sort of welding table, fab table. And then, yeah, I think I'm going to steal the 4-wheel underground suspension next week.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I've got some wheel or axles to build. And then game time on suspension.
Sweet.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yep. I know.
That's cool.
Pretty rad. So not a lot's going to happen this week, though, because of the holiday weekend. We're headed out of town to Bodega Bay.
Oh, nice.
My parents rented a house out there.
Nice.
And inviting both my brother's family and my family, and we're all going to crash at the house and hang out. So my weekend is shot in regards to working on a rig or on...
Just take an axle with you. And
yeah, right. An axle and a grinder and just sit out there at the beach. And actually, we got a fairly fancy house because it's near a golf course out there. So I'm sure they would love me grinding away. 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that and you get all the salinity from the air into your fresh metal.
Right? Yeah, rust in like a matter of hours.
Yeah.
So,
Wake up the next morning, it's all rusted out.
Yeah.
Crusted.
Yep. So hopefully, and we're leaving like Friday midday. So hopefully Wednesday or Thursday this week, I have a little bit more free time to get into the shop and do a little bit of work. So, yeah.
Cool.
That's what I did.
That's a lot, man. I know that cleaning out the shop and reorganizing is a big task.
It's a bit daunting.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out what to do with my garage because I'm accumulating kind of crap that needs to get thrown away. And I've also I keep accumulating little tiny projects. I'm like, it's a little project, take me an hour. Yeah. But then I don't do it and it just sits there.
Right. And then I've got 10 1-hour long projects.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm usually not very good at throwing stuff away, but once you start throwing shit away, it gets a lot easier to throw shit away.
Yes.
I have these glasses and pint glasses and whiskey glasses that I did a lot of test runs on for SnailTrail4x4 stuff. And I've kept them because they're still functional glasses, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to Lee from Cruising to Camp, and I said, what should I do with these glasses? They're defective. The logos are wrong. Like, I don't want to just like give it out to somebody because it's wrong. Yeah. It's not right. I don't want to like donate it to a thrift store or whatever because then my logo's out in the public and it's not correct. I don't even there's some of them that have like 2 or 3 etchings on them because I was just testing and I don't even know if they'd take those. Yeah. So I literally I broke them and threw them away.
I'd use them as shooting targets. make a shooting range and
glass everywhere.
Yeah.
But, and then it's just, now I just don't have to worry about it. It's not like that's, and there was like 6 or 8 of them sitting on this table and I just taking up space and they're glass. Yeah. So it's like I was always concerned that I was going to knock them over and break them. I broke them and threw them away. And so it just, you just get into this mode of like, do I really need this? Yeah. No, get rid of it. Yeah.
The way I envision it and I kind of run that is, have I used it in 2 years? No. Do I have a project currently on the to-do list that could use this? No. Okay. Throw it away. Yeah. Have I used it in 3 years? No. Throwing it away no matter what.
Yeah. I really did. I kind of made, my process was garbage, donation, organize. Yeah. Yeah. And then, organize would be the keep level. And then it was like, how often do I use it? And I forgot there's like those organization guru people out there. It's like if you touch it every day, put it on the counter. Yeah. If you touch it once a week, it's on one of the quick pull out drawers. If it's like once a month, it's put down below in like the storage in your cabinets. If you touch it once a year, it goes to the garage. Yeah. Sort of a thing, or deeper storage to some extent. And so if you think about things that way, then that things start to make sense of where you're going to organize it, how you're going to set it up. These glasses. I
wonder on those rules, how many wives end up in the garage?
Yeah.
Oh, zing.
Yeah. Or that's why we're always in the doghouse.
That's why we're always in the garage. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract, but I had to put that out.
Yeah. I knew when I was like, touch it, you were going to.
Oh, my mind was already going there.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think for me, it was like, what am I going to do with these glasses? I haven't touched them in a month or more because 6 months whenever we sent out those last gift boxes.
Yeah.
I haven't donated them. I didn't want to donate them because the logos are wrong. I was like, garbage.
Yeah.
Like recycle it.
Yep.
Done. Gone.
Yep. Good. Yeah. It's definitely spring cleaning. A nice, I get an enjoyment out of getting rid of shit.
Yeah.
So I know that there's people out there that are like, those videos, don't be a hoarder, don't be a hoarder. It still has potential. It has potential.
Yeah.
It has, and they're running back, throwing it into a big ass pile of random stuff.
I totally relate to that.
I don't in any way, shape, or form. I'm like, this has no potential. I don't even think it has potential. I'm getting rid of it. It's done. To me, having the space is more valuable than trying to maybe find a use for it later on.
Right.
So
yeah. Yeah, those. I had two people that are two listeners in the general area reach out to me about my hops.
Okay.
Recently, and because I moved my hops from my old house from where my parents live now to my house, and then cut them up because hops are a rhizome, so they grow from the root, and which I guess almost everything grows from the root, but they die back to the root every year.
Okay,
and then you lop all the vines off, and then next year they grow back out, and then they die back to the root. But you can also every few years you can pull the root out and like cut it in half, and now you have two plants.
Okay,
and so I propagated my hop plants, like I kind of talked about last time, and I removed like 3/4 of the rhizomes that were there, and I divided my 3 pots into 6 pots and kept only 1/4 of what was available.
Okay.
And so I had a few people reach out in the last week or so about, hey, what are you doing with the rest of those rhizomes? And so I've made 4 more pots, 2 going to each person.
Nice.
And I'm now out of rhizomes. So if you
more.
if you want, or they're dead. I don't know. And I told because they were literally sitting on top of the burn pile for like that really hot week we had. So I don't even know if they're gonna grow. And I told that to the 2 people that reached out. I said I'll pot them up and I'll get them ready and I'll water them, and if they start to grow, I'll let you know, and then I'll hand them over to you.
Okay.
Right. And so I don't even know if they're going to grow.
Gotcha. So you're in that phase right now, trying to figure out if they are going to grow before you hand them over?
They've been sitting in the dirt for 4 days, maybe now, 5 days. And I'm just giving them water every day, almost every day. And then seeing if something's going to happen. So, but mine have already popped because I've already, mine have a week head start on them. Plus I grabbed the ones that were already growing. And so I've got one that's probably 2 or 3 feet tall.
Wow.
Already.
In like a week?
Yeah.
Jeez.
They grow like a friggin' weed, man. They will grow. They could grow up to 6 inches a day.
Wow.
Yeah. It's nuts when they're fully like, mine are stunted because I like cut their legs off, right?
Okay.
So they're like trying to grow. But like the ones that where they were and how they were there for like 5 or 6 years and had grown through the pots and into the ground.
Oh, wow.
They were growing super fast. Yeah. So last year they grew maybe 20, 25 feet into the air.
Wow.
This year I'm only expecting them to get like 6 to 8.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's fun. So hopefully for John and Steve, those they pop. So we'll see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you do anything other stuff?
I did a lot of other family things, but the garden's going good. That's one of the things that's now taking my time. During the winter, my main task in the morning is to start a fire, and now during the spring and probably start of summer, my main
Gardening
task in the morning is going to be watering the garden.
Nice.
So just making sure that the garden's growing. We planted a whole bunch of strawberries. That reminds me, I needed to tell the mini assistant that there's some strawberries popping, so she needs to go out and pick some strawberries. So that'll be fun. And then she also needs to paint rocks red.
So they look like strawberries?
So they look like strawberries. So you lay them out where your strawberry bed is. Right now is the best time for it to do it for us because the strawberries aren't actually, there's like 1 or 2 strawberries in our little strawberry patch. But then the birds come down and they'll try to peck the strawberries, and they'll be pecking rocks
and they
won't
learn.
Like it,
Got it.
Kind of learn, or
squirrels or whatever else comes through.
Anything comes through, they're going to grab this red rock, and then the mass majority, or the chances of the bird flying down to get a strawberry, they'll more likely get a red rock instead of one of the strawberries.
Interesting.
Yeah. So she needs to start painting some rocks red so
Nice.
that we have that going.
Nice.
So that's my farming tip from Jimmy. Farmer Jimmy tip for the day.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. I'm done.
Cool.
That's, that was my week for the most part. Yeah.
Sweet. I went out to the Rubicon.
I know.
Yeah.
You sent me a photo of the AirHub out in front of the Rubicon sign. I'm like, who's up there? Because I know you're stuck at home. And you're like, no, I got away.
I got to get out.
Yeah. You said in the last podcast, or one of the last ones, that you knew a few people heading out there this weekend. So did you get to meet up with any of them?
No, they decided not to go, and they tried to go down to Niagara Rim.
Okay.
Which was closed.
Yeah.
So they got down there, figured out it was closed, and had to pivot and go do a lookout down there in that area. And I still went out to the Rubicon because I was like, now I have a day. Like, I don't have an overnight trip.
Right.
So I can't go to Niagara Rim. And Slick Rock is typically a really great day trip trail, but it's closed.
Okay.
Still. Strawberry is closed. Deer Valley is closed still. Signal Peak is closed still. And so I'm kind of like, Rubicon's really, if I'm looking for rock crawling, Rubicon's about it. Hellhole. I could have gone to Hellhole, which I was seriously debating.
Open?
Hellhole is open, and it's in awesome shape right now. The trail is wet, especially that creek section.
Yeah, I bet.
But the reservoir is empty right now, which is what's awesome about Hellhole is not worth going to if the reservoir is full. But it is really cool to go down and play on all the rock formations down in the reservoir.
Got it.
When it's empty. So Hellhole is empty right now. It is a fantastic trail to go out and go to for a day trip or even overnight trip. The only problem with Hellhole is that it's not any further as the crow flies to get from getting to Rubicon, but it's an extra 2 hours. It's double the travel time.
Yeah.
Because there's no easy way to get to Hellhole.
Yeah, it's way out there.
It's just way out there driving wise. So I was like, I'm just going to go up to Rubicon to be a quick trip. As far as we had heard, the furthest people had gotten was Gatekeeper, through Gatekeeper.
Okay.
So I was like, even if I just get out to the top of the bowl, go out, have lunch at the bowl, take a nap or something, then go back home. Sure. I would be super happy. Like, I just need to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I got out and I got up to the trailhead about 10 a.m. And started airing down, played around with the AirHub, which is a lot of fun. But while I was there, the county Parks and Rec people, Brian Betancourt and Jim, one of their, I don't know if he's a new hire, but he was there helping Brian out with getting the kiosk set up.
Got it. Okay.
And so they also put the sign out.
Oh.
So they had put the sign out about 30 minutes before I got there.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a fresh new layer of stain on it and sealant. So the sign is looks absolutely gorgeous right now.
Cool.
But the sign is out. Ran into Brian, talked with Brian about the trail, about the Rubicon Information Group, and just other stuff going on with El Dorado County Parks and Rec. And so with chatting with him, he was like, yeah, I was just out on Tuesday. So I was out there Friday. He goes, I was out Tuesday and I got as far as, how far did he get? Essentially Noby's Rock, the top of Walker.
Wow. Okay.
So cell phone tree area ish. Yeah. And he said that's as far as he went. He had to winch up the bottom of Walker Hill, that kind of slab.
That slick rock slab.
Yeah. So he had to winch up that. But otherwise he went in as far as essentially cell phone tree and then went out Wentworth Springs.
Okay.
So he went in Loon, out Wentworth Springs, did the loop. Cool. And he said it's all doable. The only spot he had issues at was that lower Walker area. So, I was like, cool, I'm going to head in then and see how far I get.
Yeah.
See where is the limiting spot. While I was taking pictures at the sign, a group of 3 vehicles passed me that had trailered to the chalet. And so they just kind of went in. And I was like, yeah, if I catch up to them, cool. If not, cool, whatever. We'll see how far they get. And so I went in, I ended up catching them about right before the intertie.
Okay.
So
I was envisioning in my mind you caught them before Gatekeeper.
Oh, Gatekeeper, yeah. That's what I was thinking. They were in pretty built rigs.
Okay.
So I figured they were going to move fast, but I didn't know if they were locals or if their experience was on the trail. Because like you could have a really built rig, but if you've never been to the Rubicon before, it's slow going. Just trying to figure out what lines you should be taking. There's a ton of different options. So as you're going through the trail, you're like, do I go here or here or here in this spot and do here or that spot? And so whereas like you and I, we can just motor through because we're like, oh yeah, we know all the lines of which ones we want to take. We don't have to make the decisions. We can just go.
Yeah.
And so I ended up catching them right before the intertime.
Okay.
And ended up sitting and just chatting with them in the middle of the trail for about half an hour.
Yeah.
There were some guys from a Fresno area.
Cool.
2 of them had never been to the trail before. And one of them, this was his second or third time.
Okay.
And so we just commiserated for a while, BS'd, had a good time. And they're like, what are you doing? They're like, who are you with? And I was like, I'm by myself. They're like, that's kind of ballsy coming out.
Come up here by yourself?
Coming up here by yourself? What
in the snow?
Yeah. What was your where how far are you going? I was like, until I reach about 1:30 PM, then I'll turn around and head out. And they're like, how far were you expecting to get? I was like, end of Gatekeeper, top of the bowl, but we're obviously past that now. So now I'm just kind of going until either we can't go anymore due to snow or 1:30, and then I'll turn around and head out. And they're like, that's are you, how are you, what if you break something? Yeah. And I was like, I got welders, I've got all my tools, recovery gear, I'm set and ready, and I've got a ham radio, so like, and I have APRS running, so like if people need to find me, they know exactly where I'm at. If I need to get hold of somebody, I can. But otherwise I'm up here a lot, so like I know where everything is and where to go. So I'm pretty comfortable being up here, but it was, they're just like, you're crazy. I was like, yeah, maybe, probably.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Glad you recognize that.
Yep. So then turns out they had another group of guys that were in there since Wednesday. Up at Little Sluice.
Okay.
So the guys at Little Sluice had a Starlink. So they were giving the guys coming in Friday updates on what the trail was like and everything. And apparently there was a lot of snow at Little Sluice and they couldn't get any further.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So I'm like, well, cool. I guess I'm going to Little Sluice today.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought it'd be cool to get up to Spider and have lunch at Spider and then hang out there for a while and then turn around and head back home. But if there's that much snow, maybe I'll just be stopping at Little Sluice.
Yeah, they're not far apart.
They're not. So they let me go ahead and kind of lead the group at my own pace. And they kept up pretty well. I ended up pulling into Little Sluice with the rest of their group. I don't remember what time it was. It took, I don't remember. I want to say I got to Little Sluice about 11:30.
Dang.
So on the trail at 10.
Yeah.
And with a 20 to 30 minute stop talking to them, I pulled into Little Sluice about 11:30, maybe 11:45.
Wow. That's impressive.
But the trail is in great shape. The dissipators are doing their job. The water runoff stuff is doing its job. It is wet. The trail is very wet though. So mud is different places. Sorry, Dave. Dave Pfeiffer has the Forerunner right now. But there's still patches of snow, and the patches of snow across the trail can be 2 to 3 feet deep in some spots. And it's just really shitty, slushy snow.
Right.
So, like the interesting spot was at Soup Bowl. Going by Soup Bowl, there's that narrow spot that kind of throws you over into Soup Kitchen.
Yep.
That was all slushy, snotty snow, and I tried doing it, and I ended up over sideways, with my tires up on Soup Kitchen and not going anywhere. Yeah. Because there's no traction. So I had to back out of it and climb far passenger up that section when I diffed out on my diffs going over that little hump rock.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I just need to send the Forerunner up and over.
Wow.
In order to get up through here. And so that worked out just fine. But I was like, that was the only spot I had any issues at. I didn't need to winch up Lower Walker. So when you and I went with the Kiwi,
yeah.
I had troubles getting up the passenger side
Yes.
And you'd climbed the driver's side. I've never gone up the driver's side in that spot before.
Okay.
And I took it this time because the passenger side was still really wet. And I was like, if other people are saying that they're winching up that, I'll just try the other side.
Yeah.
It went just fine. No issues. So that was the first time ever doing that line. That was fun.
It snowed there?
There was snow down below at kind of the camping area.
Okay.
And then there was snow up above, but that section was all clear. It was just wet from all the runoff coming down the trail.
I bet you would have been fine either way.
I think it would have been fine because when I came down, I went down that side.
Yeah.
And I had traction the whole time.
Yeah.
So, that was, coming up through Middle Walker though. There's kind of that boulder field at Middle Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I got into the boulder field and I was almost all the way through it. And I was like, wait a minute, there should be a boulder field here somewhere because it was all snow.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I'm in the boulder field.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, oh, this is Middle Walker. I'm in the boulder field right now. And as soon as I thought that, I diffed the front diff hard on a rock. I was like, oh, yeah, there we go. I'm in the boulder field.
That's Tyler, man. Zoning out.
Zoned
out. Where
totally.
you are.
Yep. I just get the music going. I just cruise through the trail. It's my relaxing time, man. So yeah, I had the issues at Supple, diffed out in the boulder field in Walker. Other than that, it was smooth sailing the whole way through. When I got to Little Sluice, I pulled up on the other guys that were there and I was like, hey, do you guys know, there's a couple rigs that are coming in today. They were, it's like a old white Bronco or maybe an old Suburban style square body thing. And then a couple of Jeeps, and they're like, I mean, maybe we're not really sure what vehicles they're driving. And I was like, well, one of them is definitely kind of a white CJ8 or maybe a LJ. I was trying to be really like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. And
another one's a burgundy reddish Jeep and then a white older style SUV. And it was a Bronco too. And they're like, I mean, that could probably be our guys. It sounds like it. There's 3 guys coming in today. And I was like, well, there's only 3. That's nobody else on the trail.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I guess it's our guys. Why? What's up? And I was like, they're broken back at Ellis and told me to come get the guys at Little Sluice. They need you to go back and help them. And they're literally just sitting down to start lunch.
Yeah.
And so they're all kind of looking at each other like, are you fucking kidding me? And they're like, should we go help them or should we just let them struggle? Like they're just trying to decide now whether or not to go help them. And I was like, I don't know. They asked, they're like, what's wrong? I was like, I don't know. I was passing them and they asked me if I made it to Little Sluice to tell the guys at Little Sluice that they need help. And so they're like, oh man, all right, we'll finish up lunch and then head out. And then they're like all kind of like bummed and upset about it. I was like, I'm just kidding you. They're like 5 minutes behind me. They're like, oh, it's fuck you, man. So I was like, I'm actually coming here to hang out with you guys until the other guys show up because I got nothing else to do today. So I pulled over right there and hung out with them and had lunch. They're a fun group of guys. And then while we were there, a really well-built LJ with LS in it came through and decided to go play in Little Sluice.
Oh.
Little Sluice has about 4 to 5 feet of snow in it still. And the whole slabs on the passenger side, which is the bailout for Little Sluice, all that is covered with like 6 to 10 feet of snow right now.
Wow.
Still.
Okay.
And then the bypass looked fairly clear. Earlier in the week, they said on Wednesday or Thursday, they couldn't get up the bypass side of Little Sluice. There was still a lot of snow there. And then between then and Friday, it had melted off enough where I was like, I could make it up that.
A few more days.
A few more days. I mean, it's melting quick. There's still a lot of snow up there, but it's melting quick. The LJ went through Little Sluice, took him about an hour.
Okay.
For a very well-built LJ to make his way through Little Sluice. And I saw him get out with a shovel for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. I can only imagine how slippery that might have been.
Dude, it's so slick and snotty up there.
Yeah.
And then the guys told me that on the other side of Little Sluice, so as you kind of come down where the bypass comes back in, you come down and then you make that tight turn, head over to $1,000 hill. Yep. Right there in that corner. They said that has about 15 feet of snow right there. It doesn't go down. It comes up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's how much snow is down there right now. And I was like, all right, well, that's how far everybody's getting right now. You're not getting through that unless you're digging through that section.
Sure.
So as of this weekend, $1,000 Hill is as far as you can make it on the trail.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I absolutely loved it. I have not really rock crawled the Forerunner since Dave shortened my shock mounts.
Okay.
Never caught the shock mounts all day long.
Nice.
That was amazing. So I'm really happy with now the shock mounts being where I wanted them originally, where they were supposed to be.
Right.
I'm very happy with that setup. The suspension's working awesome. Axles are awesome. I did have two interesting things happen. One is I have this issue where my upper link on the rear axle likes to come loose. The jam nuts don't stay tight. And so the link comes loose and then it changes my pinion angle on me throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I got to a point where I was like feeling this slight knocking.
That the clunk we were hearing?
Maybe.
Okay.
So I kept hearing and feeling this clunk. And I'm like, what is going on? Like I shouldn't be. And I thought that it was just the bump stops. And I'm like, but I shouldn't be hitting I'm going slow enough that the suspension should be able to handle it without the bump stops hitting in the rear. I've got quite a big amount of travel in the rear. So I'm like, I don't know. So finally I stopped, on my way out to right around Ellis Creek. I stopped and just looked and I was like, son of a bitch. The upper link came out like 5-6 inches.
Wait, what?
My upper link was like about 6 inches longer than it should be because it was threading out.
The link was rotating itself.
Uh-huh.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah. And so my pinion was way up.
I thought you meant which doesn't make sense now that I'm thinking about it. I thought you meant the bolt that holds the link in.
Oh, yeah, for the joint?
For the joint was coming. Oh, dang. Okay, so the link bar for some reason is
the jam nuts
twisting itself.
Yeah, the jam nuts come loose.
Yeah.
And the link spins itself to extend the length of my upper link, which shoots the pinion angle upwards. Okay. Which means my bump stops were only about an inch off of the strike pads.
Yes.
And my U-joint was very close to binding on the rear drive shaft.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, that's not good. So I had to spend 20 minutes just turning this link.
Yeah.
To get it back to the correct angle. And that's a lot of work to do that under load when you have to spin it.
How'd you do it? Did you have a pipe wrench or anything?
I've got, so the bungs are hex.
Okay.
So I have specific, wrenches I carry for the jam nuts and the links. So I just did that. But it takes a long time because the joints are fine thread. Mm-hmm. And so just having to go back 6 inches worth of link distance takes a long time.
So that's crazy that it was still connected.
I'm surprised. Like, I don't know how long the shafts are on the joints, but I was like, I don't know how much further this has before it just falls apart.
Right.
So, I need to figure out a solution for that because that happened on Barrett Lake last year.
How much thread is left to the link joint?
Not much. Like with the jam nut on there, there's 1 or 2 threads.
Oh,
so
I was going to say double nut it.
Yeah, there's not enough for double nutting it. But I've been told red Loctite, just red Loctite the shit out of it. That's what Slauson said.
Okay.
Derek Miller, D-Mill, said that he tack welds his. And I'm like, yeah, but there's threads there. Like if you tack weld the threads, then you're destroying the threads. How do you get the jam nut undone later on to do? And I'm like,
grind it.
He goes, yeah, you just be really careful with a grinder or a Dremel and you recreate the thread each time. And I'm like,
but can't you tack weld the jam nut to the link?
You can. So this is what my original plan was. And Hussman said, when you tack weld the jam nut to the link on both ends, you're just creating one giant link at that point. So the whole thing can still spin. You're not keeping the link from spinning.
Got it.
And so really what you need to do is you need to find a way to keep the jam nuts from moving. You need to tighten everything up and keep it all from rotating.
That makes sense.
And so D Mills said that he just tack welds the thread and fixes the threads every time he needs to deal with it. But he's like, the whole point of doing that is so that it doesn't change and you don't need to mess with them.
Right. That's what I was also going to say.
That's a fair point.
Once you have it set up how it should be, you're not going to need to change it.
Yeah, until you change out your joints.
Until you change out the joints.
Which are 3 years, 4 years for recreational wheeling? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's an interesting thought. But I'm like, I still don't fully like that idea.
Okay.
I think what I want to end up doing is taking
duct tape.
Duct tape it all together. That'd be perfect. That might actually work.
Duct tape on the splines, like Teflon. It.
Yeah, right.
Use duct tape.
Because I don't necessarily want to use red Loctite either. Because like, what if I need to take it apart on a trail for some reason? I have to sit there and either heat it up or struggle to break the red Loctite. I think what I want to end up doing is taking a little L bracket. So take some angle iron, cut it down to like a 1/2 inch sliver of it. Because I only have 1 to 2 threads showing between the jam nut and the joint.
Right.
So what if I weld a little angle iron bracket from the joint and then tack weld it on top of the jam nut and the bung? And that would kind of keep everything together and keep everything from spinning because it's tied to the joint now.
Yeah. I mean, I would work, but it seems like I would just weld the jam nut.
To your threads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with D Mill on this one. Mm-hmm. Once it's set up, it's set up. And when the link is done, you're going to have to get it apart anyway.
Yeah.
In that regard, you're going to have to cut that thing off one way or another. And then you're going to,
yeah, true.
Then you're going to have to, you're going to have to cut it apart and then you're going to pull it apart.
Mm-hmm.
Where this way you're going to cut it apart. You're going to all you have to do is break that tack so that you can untwist it. And then you're taking it apart either way. The only thing about having tack welding the jam nut and having it mess up the threads is if it's not correct and you've got to make a modification.
That's true. Yeah.
That's it. So if it's set up correctly, if it's in the right position, make it a permanent position.
Yeah.
At that point. Another thing when you were saying angle iron, I was thinking if you you would have to cut a little concave so you could weld it onto the curvature of the link.
Mm-hmm.
But then all you would have to do is set the top end of the angle iron over the flat section of the jam nut, and you probably don't even have to weld it. I bet you would hold it by itself.
Yeah. That's a good call.
But you'd still have to cut that thing off regardless to get to unspin it. But, and I don't know if it's,
the benefit
it's probably strong enough because it's just wiggling itself loose.
Yeah.
So as long as you're preventing that.
Yeah. It's just a tiny little bit of movement and the whole thing can then unspin itself.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder if there was.
Yeah, that's it. I'll have to maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe somebody makes some funky cover that will hold it in place.
Maybe
you could drill a hole through it and put a cotter pin.
I did think about that. But the jam nut it's like your tie rod, right?
I know where you're going. So even if it loosens up a little bit, because you're not going to get the cotter pin close enough, it'll still loosen up a little bit, and then the link can unthread. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, any little bit of tension, if that jam nut comes a little bit untensioned, and cotter pins don't hold things under tension. Right. So, I got to noodle on that more. I'm curious if there's other ideas out there for it though.
Castle nut cotter pin or castle nut
jam nuts.
Yeah.
Take my jam nuts and turn them into castle nuts. That would be interesting.
How big is the jam nut?
It's fairly, it's that
An
thick.
Inch?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could just drill a slot. So you could angle grind a slot through one section, make sure it's perpendicular. And then once you get it in place, you could drill a hole through the shank. Yeah. And then it wouldn't be able to untwist.
Yeah. I might consider that too. Because if I can just drill a hole in the jam nut, and then that would end up being my guide to drill through the shank on the joint as well, to keep the hole straight and know right where the hole needs to be on the shank. You don't
even have to necessarily drill slots in it. You can just literally drill a hole through the whole thing.
Yeah, that would suck to do with a hand drill though.
Yeah. Or you use red Loctite, you tack weld it, And you drill the whole slot through for a castle nut.
Let's just do everything.
Yeah. And
do
your
all the
little angle
things.
iron thing.
Yeah.
And duct tape and zip ties and baling wire.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm new to the link world, right? So I'm curious what other people with links out there do to keep your links from changing their length. So I had that issue, which is,
what if you used a different material? Like, could you create that weird seizing?
a galling. Make it galling.
Is that what it's called? Galling?
Yeah.
Where the two opposite metals are
They weld themselves together, essentially. Yeah, it's called galling. Maybe, but it would need to be the shank on the joint.
Yeah.
Galling with the jam nut. Usually that's a stainless steel. Is it a stainless steel thing to regular steel? I forget what it is. Aluminum to stainless? I forget what it is. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be another thing. Do an intentional galling. Anyway, so that was my first issue.
Okay.
The second issue is I punctured a tire.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What air pressure were you at?
5.
Huh.
So what happened was, and I still am not sold that it's the tires issue. I think it's still just me driving into shit because my axles are so wide issue.
Okay.
It was coming through Little Sluice.
So that would be the second time that this happened.
Yep. I drove into something at Trail Hero because my axle was so wide.
You didn't know
and tore and pinched the tire. This time was definitely the same thing. There was at Little Sluice, I was coming through and there's that snow berm as I was leaving. So it's on the driver's side now. Snow berm there. I didn't see a rock in the snow berm and just hit my driver's side wheel hard on the rock as I was leaving.
You had a pinch flat.
I had a pinch flat. So I pinched the tire between the rock and the wheel. And it just tore a tiny little hole there. And I was like, well, that's why I carry glue tread with me. Yep. So I pulled over and went to start glue treading it, patching it. And I forgot to refill my glue after Trail Hero last year.
Oh, no.
So I had no glue in my tire repair kit. And I was like, shit. Well, it's a tiny hole, small hole. Maybe 1 plug, 2 plugs will fix it. So I pulled out my plug kit.
Yep.
And 2 plugs fixed it.
Nice.
So it's 2 plugs holding air just fine.
Okay.
But I am going to this week after I get the 4Runner back, I'm going to take the plugs out and put a permanent patch over it with glue tread because it's small enough that it should hold just fine as a permanent fix.
Nice.
With a glue tread. And it's down far enough. It's like right next to the rim.
Yeah.
So
pinch flat. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I need more glue too. I'm just because I know there's a shelf life on that glue.
There is about a year. So you need to keep reiterating that to people. If you have glue tread kits in your trail stuff and you haven't replaced the glue in a year, make that part of your annual maintenance. It's $6 for 3 bottles of glue.
Yeah.
Just put it in, plan on buying glue every year.
Yeah.
So
I need some more glue.
Yep.
I actually reached out to Andy and talked to him.
Oh yeah.
I was like, hey, I couldn't find this on the website. Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I need more glue. He's like, well, I'll just send you some. And I was like, no, man, I can buy I can buy the glue. $6. I'm good. And then I just have never done it. Yeah.
We have a ton of glue bottles here at MORRFlate as well that we do the same thing. We got them from Glue Tread and we just send them to people who aren't aware of the shelf life on the glue yet. So if anybody needs glue, hit up MORRFlate. Talk to MF or Sean and he'll get you some glue sent out.
All right.
So
I might do that.
Yeah. Grab some on your way out today. But another thing, annual maintenance for trail stuff, reminder for everybody to get your fire permits.
Yes.
So we're starting to get out of the snow melt season, getting into summer season. Get your fire permits. They're 5 minutes to do online. You can take the screenshot of it and keep it on your phone. No matter what anybody with the Forest Service or the county or whoever tries to tell you, that is a legal option for keeping your permit as a screenshot on your phone. So you can definitely do that. Just go get it. Get it done.
And super easy.
Super easy to do. And it's the same video every year. So like if you've watched the video and you have it memorized now, you can just let the video play and then take the quiz after the video.
Yeah. Maybe we should tell them that they need to change it up to make people more on their toes. But I also don't want to do that because I don't want to have to worry about it.
Exactly.
I know the answers to the questions.
Yep, exactly. But it was an awesome trip. El Dorado County Sheriff had the helicopter out flying around. They were just scoping out the trail, seeing what the trail looks like. And so that was George.
Yep.
Our buddy George, Unleashed 4x4. He was up in the helicopter and took peeping Tom photos of me while I was airing down at the spillway.
I saw that photo. I messaged him like, how'd you get that?
Yeah. Yep.
And then I saw his video of him flying around.
Yep. So that was funny seeing the sheriff's copter out there, not realizing George was inside, then getting a text message from him later in the day. I was like, oh, okay, that was you.
Yeah, that's funny.
And so George is putting together a cool event on the Rubicon.
Yeah.
So it's a Rubicon or tacos on the Rubicon.
Yes.
So it's going to be for solid axle Tacomas to go in and hang out at Rubicon Springs and have tacos.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I know that he has a second gen. I think it's a second gen.
Is it a second? I thought it was a third.
I think it's a second gen.
Okay.
On full widths. Badass vehicle.
Yep.
He's got a lot of friends that have some as well. And so, I don't know how far they go in.
They're going to the Springs.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, the event is for the weekend at the Springs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're doing a Dirty Dozen.
Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, I know we're not invited.
Yeah, right? Because we don't have solid axle Tacomas.
We don't have solid axle Tacomas, so yeah, we're not really invited.
Yeah.
But we might crash.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I might try and come down for a day or something. Come down Cadillac or something. But yeah, solid axle Tacoma group doing some tacos on the Rubicon. I forget the dates, but go look at Unleashed 4x4's Instagram. He's got all the information for dates and how to get signed up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
should be fun.
Yeah, it should be a fun event. I don't know. That's all I did. It was a great day. I had a lot of fun. Sweet. It was awesome to get out and do some rock crawling.
Yeah.
Again. And still get to do a little bit of snow wheeling.
Yeah, there you go. Last bit.
Play around in the snow before it's all gone here. It was very needed. And I remembered one thing that I don't think we mentioned in our what do we look forward to? Of Wheeling the Rubicon.
Monday's episode
this week. Coming across the first dam.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, just rolling down your windows. There's always a good breeze. Gusts coming across that first dam as you're approaching the Loon Lake spillway. That is another thing I absolutely love. It might be my top favorite thing about going to the Rubicon. Just hitting that dam each time.
You like it going to the dam more than wheeling?
It's probably the thing that gives me the most joy. I was debating it.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It is pretty neat to you have a fantastic, it's a levee or a dam. I guess it would be I don't know what you would consider.
It's a dam, yeah.
It could be both.
I guess maybe.
But anyways, looking off when you're driving in, looking off passenger side and just staring at the lake, it's like a beautiful view of the lake. And then you look out driver's side and it's like looking down a canyon. It's absolutely gorgeous on both directions.
Yep.
It's fun to go come off of the Rubicon at twilight hour or sunset.
Yeah.
And you get a fantastic sunset.
So cool. Spot. Yep. The only time I don't like that spot is when the wind is blowing through there at 80 miles an hour.
Right. And
that was scary. That was scary. But I remember I was coming up every single time I hit that dam, I rolled down my windows and it's just the breath of fresh air. I'm here. Let's go wheeling.
In the mountains. So that's your I finally made it point.
I think so, yeah. And then I finally made it on the Rubicon is once you're coming out of Gatekeeper looking at the bowl.
Yeah. Okay.
Resting over the bowl. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. I'm glad you got out. That sounds like you had a good time. I'm happy to hear that you got a last little snow wheeling trip in.
Yep.
I know how much you love your snow wheeling season.
I do.
And how it's finally coming to off-roading season. So that's always a bonus. If you have any comments for us, you can always reach us. We're over on Instagram. Tyler's at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. I'm at SnailTrail4x4. You can hit us up at Jimmy or Tyler at SnailTrail4x4.com. You can email us there. You can always phone in and be a part of our snail mail episodes. Area code 916-345-4744. And there's a lot of other places. You can find us on iRate, Facebook, We're on a Discord now.
Kind of, that's the Total Off-Road Podcast Discord.
Yeah,
but,
so you can DM us there, though we probably won't ever answer.
I have Discord up quite a bit nowadays.
Do you?
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So many places to get a hold of us if you really want.
Yep. Cool, man. If you guys have feedback, let us know. We love hearing from you. Jimmy, final words to close out 505.
Well, first of all, I'm kind of curious what 505 actually is. It does seem like it should be something, doesn't it? All right. So besides that, I just want to say I'm super stoked that you got out and did some wheeling. I know that you've been locked in the house for days, and it's glad to hear that you finally have gotten away.
Yep.
But I'm also sad to hear that you've now handed off the 4Runner, so no wheeling here in the near future.
Well, for this week, I think. We'll get into that a little bit later. There's a couple things going on with the 4Runner. I didn't bring them up because we're starting to run long on time, and I wanted to share the adventure more than the troubleshooting.
Yep.
But I have some update, I guess, on heating issues as well as transfer cases leaking.
Got it.
So,
and I thought these were my final words.
What is your final? You went on this whole big long thing for a final word, man.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
It's my line.
I got one for you.
Ready, bro?
Why did the dog go to school?
I don't know.
To become a bark... I can't say this. To become a barkitect.
That's dumb. I thought it would be something along the lines of to be the teacher's pet, or because he's the teacher's pet.
That would have been much better. Let's try this again. Why did the dog go to school?
I don't know. Why, Jimmy?
Because he was the teacher's pet.
Oh, that's a good one.
There you go. Must be a corgi or something.
Oh, man.